join tonight. Clarky, you haven't seen the Clarky for a while.
I'll keep an eye out, Jose. I'll keep an eye out. But in the meantime, I will say, Inspiration Nation, hello. Lee Kemp, Jose Noya, Ryan Boniface, here for another 30 minutes, give or take, of inspirational content and probably a little bit of waffle somewhere as well. How are we doing, guys?
Yeah, really good.
Very well.
Glad to hear it. Right, I am up this week for a quote. So I don't think we've done this one before. We'll start running into that territory soon. But I'd like to do a quote. Now, we said we could do fictional characters, right?
Yeah.
That's what most of mine are based off of.
I love the movie Night at the Museum, so I'm going to do a quote from Theodore Roosevelt, who was in Night at the Museum.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wonder whether... Yes. Okay, I'm with Ryan on this one. Okay, carry on. Just carry
I'm
on.
sure he died about 80 years before, but sure.
I'm going to do a quote from the actual Theodore Roosevelt, not the movie character in Night at the Museum. Oh, it's a terror. See, this is a waffle. Attempt at humour. Anyway, Teddy Roosevelt, when he was President of the United States of America, said, "Believe you can, and you're halfway there." That was, believe you can, and you're halfway there. It's like a bingo caller there, wasn't it?
New occupation, Lee. New occupation.
I used to, back in my hotel working days, I used to call the bingo quite regularly.
Oh, this is when you're back in not entertainment. What's the
Hospitality
your
is the word.
hospitality, that's
Well
it.
spent youth.
Absolutely well spent youth. So the reason I like this is it's the mindset thing, and we talked variations of this in the past. But if you think you can't do something, you're probably not going to do it. If you think you can do something, you're more likely that you're going to do it. Not going to say you always will, but if you decide you can't before you even started, you've written it off before you even try.
This is very similar to another quote, very close to another quote. You just said another quote, actually.
Oh, what's the other
Anyway,
quote? Give me the other quote.
No. The other one is, if you believe you can, you believe you can't, you're right. Henry Ford.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure it's right. Let's check it.
Something like that. That seems to ring a bell. But again, these, those two, Henry Ford, I think probably did all right in life. Probably made something thereabouts.
£1 billion industry, probably. I don't know. It is billions, must be.
Something like that. In passing, created the idea of the manufacturing line, which probably had a little bit of an impact on us. Again, Theodore Roosevelt it was great in Night at the Museum. I think that's all he did, but did well as well. But I see, this is something I bump into all the time. There's that people deciding something isn't possible. It's too big of a challenge. It's too hard. I can't do it. There isn't enough time. There's not enough resources. Whatever the reason is before they started. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of those things might be true to an extent, but they're challenges. If there isn't enough time, what can you do with the time you've got? Or how can you change what you're trying to do to fit the time? Or how can you create more time? If there's not enough resources, what can you do? What can you move around? How can you, I can say, jig it about to make that happen? Which Apollo is it that's the Stuck in Space movie? Is that Apollo 13?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Tom Hanks, wasn't it?
That's it. And that's a great example of this, where they are in space, they're stranded, so to speak, and they need to make something to get them back to Earth, but they can only do it with the stuff on the plane. It's that great scene where they're back on Earth and they get hold of everything they've got, and then they are experimenting to use what is at their disposal to make the thing that they need. It's something to connect something to something else. I can't remember all the details, but that to me is a great example, because the first answer would be, well, we haven't got the part, we can't do this. But they made it happen. They were innovative. They took what they had and they amended it and they adjusted it. And they had, from my view, a pure outcome focus. This is what we need to have. Nothing else matters. Doesn't matter how clunky it is, how rudimentary, whatever it is, how can we make this thing happen? And I think that mindset pays dividends, and I think that's one of the real things that kind of sets success apart from the it's all against me type mentality, maybe.
Totally agree with you, Lee. I cannot agree with you more. Absolutely. Okay, I've got something to add to this.
Good. I was going to say, if you've got any thoughts there, I thought you were going to go into something there. I'm like, don't leave me hanging, Jose. So expand on that particular thought for me.
Yeah, and I do, because I think I really love this, by the way, because I've actually experienced this myself, where
you were stuck in space.
not the space bit, but
Okay.
I would like. Well, no, I wouldn't. I was going to say I would like to be stuck in space. But
You wouldn't.
I would not want to be stuck in space. I'd like to go to space. That's one of my big dreams. That's one of my big dreams. I think the whole thing comes down to belief, and a couple of things come to mind because when I was on my coaching journey, you know, doing the YouTube and everything like that, had a bit of a break. There was a video, and I think I've recorded this before on the podcast. And thank you everyone for joining, by the way. I just want to give some shout outs to people. Hey, Robert, thanks for joining. When I'd stopped doing the YouTube channel, I thought, oh, it's never going to happen. I'm going to take a break from it. And it turned into about a year break. If you go to the YouTube channel, there's a break for about a year where there's nothing on it, literally. And blog posts, literally nothing on it. Because I'd gone through the phase that it's never going to happen. You expect it to happen too quick, and it doesn't. And part of it is examining why I was doing it. But I just didn't really believe that I could do it. And then I had to sit down, and I saw this video from Evan Carmichael saying, you're ready. You're ready. Like, so what he's saying is, you're always ready. You just got to take those steps. It's just about belief. And this is what I love about this, because the other example was we worked together, Lee, and there was a big project we were doing together, and I struggled with it because I thought it was just too big. I just felt I couldn't do it. But then we sat in the room for about a day, maybe a day and a half, plotting out this massive great mind map. And even today, I showed you a mind map that you know that I've created off the back of that. And I said to you, actually, that reminds you of those days. And doing mind maps really help focus on the sort of smaller things you can do, or the focus you need to bring. Anyway, even then I still struggle with the belief. But ever since those days, and ever since we've sort of created this podcast, that belief's just been growing and growing and growing. And now we're here, you know, we're here doing this podcast together. Off the back of all that lack of belief, we've now got a belief that, hey, we're doing it. And the whole goal was, and Ryan recounted it as well, we just want one person to listen to this. And now we've had lots of people, you know, growth on the YouTube channel, not massive, but it's good. It's better than it was. It was at 100, now it's at 800, so it's a massive bit of growth. So that's what I like about it. It's the small steps, it's the outcomes, it's them building small steps towards it. And there's actual real life tangibles here that we're doing it. And we're doing it right now. And the things that you're creating, there's some exciting things that are coming down the line. And we had a really inspiring conversation just before this call, didn't we? We had this really where potentially the thing that Lee's working on is potentially massive. It's literally massive, and that's all I'm going to say. And I'm so inspired by it's not just an idea, but the results of this already, because I've tested it out. I'm just so inspired by it. It's just incredible. And I think that's what it's about, belief, and just keep trying, taking the steps, prioritizing. And actually the big thing for me, what's worked, is that you've got to actually really enjoy it. You've got to really enjoy it. It doesn't, you know, you're not really talking about the outcomes. You're talking about, do I actually enjoy, and it's really
the process. Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, the process.
See, I pay attention.
You just enjoy doing it. It's like, I love every week coming here and talking to you about something a bit more in depth. You know, about belief. This one's about belief. You know, whether believe you can, believe you can't. It's what Roosevelt's talking about, and Henry Ford. You're right. You are right. Like, if you can't, like, I had that. You know, doing this YouTube, that's never going to work. Of course it's not, because you're saying it's not going to work. And if you say it's not going to work, it's not going to work. It's just not. But if you just keep going, keep taking steps, just keep taking the steps, you will get somewhere. Now, Lee and Ryan just have really sort of helped me to do this podcast, because actually, Lee, I think we talked about it as well, was like, I really want to be specific about what I wanted the outcome to be. And what happens, though, that it doesn't necessarily happen like specifically like you want it to happen. It will be a variation of what you wanted to happen. And I love that. I'm actually really excited. And actually, it can be better than what you imagined, which is really odd. It could be worse, but I actually think it could be actually... And thinking about the idea that Lee's just come up with, it actually could be a whole lot better than I could have ever imagined, which is really inspiring to me. And thank you for all the likes, by the way. Thank you, Anna Classics. Oh, thank you, Anna Classics. Joined last week. I really appreciate it. I know you took some lovely things in the chat. You post a question. I'll pop it to the guys in the room. But that's what's really sparked off, Lee. I'm really inspired today. There's a lot of exciting things happening right now, both in my work and outside work. And they're basically like almost like amalgamating. One's driving the other. Like, they're just bouncing off each other. Like, it's high energy, I've got high energy in both areas right now, and it's really exciting. I'm really excited by it all, and it's all because of this, because of this podcast. It's all because of this. When Lee said, "Get together, let's do a podcast," and we got together, and it's all about belief and just doing it. Like Lee said, "Let's do it. Let's do the podcast." And I heard this saying as well. Entrepreneurs have this thing. They say, I've heard it a lot of times now. You're building a plane as we go. As we're flying, we're building it as we're flying, right? We're trying to fly. We're just building it as we go. We're building it. We're just building it as you go, and I love that. It's like the Apollo. It's like the Apollo reference you're talking about. We're building the plane as we go. We're building the vehicle as we go.
And it's
Put
a
couple of
brave.
wheels on here, you know.
It's a brave step for people to do, is to take that leap of faith and, like you said, build as we go, and not necessarily know, have an idea of the direction of travel, but not the outcome, and not even the steps you need to take along the way. But you make it happen. You make it happen if you just got that "yes, I can" type of thought. Ryan Boniface Esquire, what are your views on this particular mindset?
Esquire, I love that.
I think it toes the line to a lot of the messages that we like to throw out on the podcast. We like to talk about motivating ourselves and others, and this really fits into that mantra of taking the first step, and 1% at a time is better than no percent at any time. And I think it. I've touched on it before, but a lot of the stuff that we talk about somewhat says and does the same thing. We just use different ways of saying it to help influence as many different people as possible. And I think, I think the quote that Lee's chosen from Theodore Roosevelt is that, as long as you get up and are willing to start, or get back up and willing to continue, then that's half of the challenge. I think that's that's the most important part, because we can all say we tried something and it failed, and we can all say that the idea will never work, or it will never happen that way. But until you actually try, you're never really going to know. I think that's pretty key to anyone wanting to succeed at anything.
It's being brave, though, isn't it? You have to be a bit brave, don't you, to a certain degree? Yeah. And I just want to reference that how far we've all come since doing this podcast. Like I remember, Ryan, you were talking back in the day when you're doing leadership stuff. You weren't a leader at that point, right? Remember, we were talking about it, and you're like, "Oh, I'll be a leader, da da da. Oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, And there's all that doubt, and now look at you, like flying, absolutely flying.
And same for you, Joe. I mean, you couldn't use an iPhone or a computer, and look at you now. You're all over it.
I just want to give a shout out to Anna Classics, actually. Anna Classics just said, "Keep it up, man. You've inspired me time and time again. Thank you so much."
Look at that. See, that is exactly what it's about. But seriousness, and I made that joke there, and you had a good laugh, and we had a bit of banter in our WhatsApp group before we came on board as well.
So we should.
But getting comedy in your life was a real goal for you, Joe, if we go back early days, so probably 4 years ago now we're talking, but there was this real conscious effort that you felt you were too serious all of the time, and all your pursuits were very serious, and you needed for your well-being to get a bit of comedy in your life. And that's not even you anymore. To say that is crazy now compared to how you are, and the banter we do between us, but the amount of that is you generating it now as well. So it's not just the professional changes, it's the personal changes as well.
And I think as well, I think also it depends on who you surround yourself with, right? I really love you guys, And
when you're with hilarious people, you're going to be hilarious.
Yeah, too right? And what was I going to say? Totally forgot. I've gone now. But it's true, isn't it? I think it's what you said about belief. I think if you have people around that believe in you as well, I think that really helps. Like Lee and Ryan, you're staying on and doing these calls and believing this is a good, worthwhile purpose. It's just amazing. It just adds to that belief, and this has bled into my work. Like, you wouldn't believe the change that would happen in my work life because of this. Like, literally, I've had so much belief. It's incredible, and I'd never have stepped into that had I not done the things we've done. And also now my sessions that I run also are very relaxed. Before it'd be quite uptight, and I'd be quite formal. But now it's like, let's have a real honest conversation. Like the podcast, you guys have helped me with that. bring a bit of humour in at the appropriate time, also be appropriate, of course, right? But all that's really helped shaped the way I converse and communicate. And I can tell you something. The other day at work, there was this session I was running, really hard conversation, but I was able to, before I'd be struggling with that. Although I struggled a bit with it, I was able to manage that a lot better because of what we talk about here and the practice we do with the podcast, and sometimes we have conflicting views. And it's okay to be conflicted. It's okay to have a little bit of, what's the word? Not stress, but tension, or it's okay to have a little bit of friction.
100%.
Because that creates better ideas. Go on, you're going to say?
No, I'm agreeing with you completely. I think that the tension bit, like you said, in ideas and groups and teams, people. But I do also think there's a bit that if we have those different views on here, that makes a more entertaining listen for people as well. And there's a reason for that. It's that the different viewpoints are important. It's iron sharpens iron, isn't that the phrase?
I don't know. I've not heard that, but that's the new one on me. Is that who said that? That's quite right there, isn't it?
Lee Kemp. But I think it's that view that
Is that a Lee Kemp?
It's not. I'll stick it in my Google machine now.
But no, I mean honestly. But I think what I like about it, even today, there was a little bit of tension in our discussion because there was something I wanted to do, and Lee said, I could say Lee, there was sort of a bit of tension in the room about it, but it was good. We can have that conversation because we're open and we can say, okay, let's not do that, let's do this. And that's what I love. This is why we have to have these honest conversations, right? And say what we think and feel. If we don't think it's the right thing to do, we shouldn't be doing it. And being able to say that in front of each other is important. It's almost like bare our souls lives. Because I can get quite enthusiastic. I mean, Ryan,
really?
I can get quite excited about things very quickly, yeah.
Never noticed that.
And I can get carried away. And sometimes I need to be reined in. And these two are good at that, right? Because I get carried away, I go, let's run with this. No, hang on. Let's just wait a minute. Which is always good, right? Because I've got so much that I just want to run with now. I get so excited about it so quickly, which I was totally the other way before. But now I'd want to run and I want to try it and see what's the impact of that. But sometimes you need to put the brakes on. And that's why I love having these guys in the room, because they put the brakes on me sometimes, which I absolutely love. So thank you. I just want to say I appreciate you, because I do run with stuff these days. I love putting stuff out there. Let's see what happens. So I appreciate you both for that, because again, that's part of the belief in the systems you've got around you. Because at the minute, I'm just loving driving stuff right now. And I never used to like driving, did I? Remember that, Lee? I didn't used to like driving stuff. Do you remember?
I do.
Remember that, Lee? I used to hate driving stuff, and now I feel like I'm just driving stuff. But I do want other people to drive stuff, of course. I can't drive everything, so there's only a limited amount of energy I have, or people, or time. So I need other people to drive stuff. But honestly, remember that. Remember those days? Wouldn't drive. I just didn't want to drive, and now I can't help driving. Like, it's crazy. But that comes out like that thing you said about belief. I'm more inclined to throw myself into things now than I ever have been. And I just want to say thanks to you, and thanks to everybody listening to this, everyone on YouTube, everyone on TikTok. So thank you so much for joining and spending your precious time with us, because that all adds to this message that we're trying to get out there to get inspired. Just try stuff, just see what happens. You never know what's going to happen. Perfection is the killer of all dreams. It's never going to be perfect. It's probably not going to be what you imagine. It might be even better. And that's what, there's no guarantees. Of course it's not. But what if you don't try? You don't want to regret it, do you? You don't want to regret it. You don't want to regret it.
Exactly. So
only on here for a short space of time.
Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And there's all different slight tweaked versions of it. And there's one I like even better, which is as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend even, or a friend shapes his friend. All versions of that.
I think that's what we're doing, like with each other, but also with our listeners and viewers and subscribers. I think that's what we're doing, and we want to pass this message on, don't we? Like, we want other people to do this. If you've got a passion, you go launch your stuff, do your stuff, try it out, have a go, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. You don't, If we had Lee not suggested this, we wouldn't be here today. Had Lee not gone off and, seen how to do a podcast, we wouldn't be here today.
And learn, like you said, flying as we go. What I do now isn't what I had to start off with. I didn't know how to do this, and I've got, like, including you on TikTok, I've got 4 screens on the go here, and we've got a load of editing stuff we do, and all of that we learn as we decided we can do this, back to the theme, and then we set a date and we're going to make it happen, and we built up the technology and the ways to do it, and we've gone through all different ways of it, and we're the slick operation we are now. And what I want to say, thank you for the people that have stuck with us on YouTube, because you may have seen our holding page for the first 10 minutes because I forgot to press the right button. But this is how we learn. This is how we learn.
But yeah, it's like NASA in your place now, isn't it? With all your screens. It's like NASA, I think. This is like...
The one thing I learned on this podcast is to not try and control everything. This is what happens when I don't control everything.
There's a moral in that somewhere.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, but this has been I love this conversation because, you know, it's turned into, you know, actually, you know, as Ryan said before, you quoted it before, Ryan, that we are sharing our experience, whether they work or don't work, and that we want that to inspire other people, because by sharing our stories of trying and failing, and actually trying, sometimes succeeding, that's gonna spread, and we need more of that in the world, right? We need more people putting their ideas out there, because there could be someone watching this right now, or watching this back, or playing this back, and thinking, well, I might have a cure for something, and they're just not willing to try something. Like, it could be the cure for cancer, it could be anything, right? And they're not doing it because they haven't got the belief. That is what's scary, that people aren't trying because they're scared that what's going to happen, right? So that's where, you know, that's where people around you can really help, support with people, and you never know what's going to happen. You know, it may not work, but you're going to learn something.
Absolutely.
You're going to maybe try something different. It's going to evolve, and it's like evolution, isn't it? I mean,
and if it doesn't work, they're all just steps on the journey to what is eventually going to work.
Yeah, I can't think of anything more exciting. I think it's just a never-ending journey, isn't it? We're going to be doing this till we die, right? But that's just great.
Well, we'll probably be doing it until you die, in fairness, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Lee.
You've got quite a bit.
You're living to 120, is that right?
Yeah, at least.
I remember that, right? Ryan, you're 120 as well? Because I'll be gone in probably about 30 years, 20 years if I'm lucky.
10 if we're lucky.
I do have a lot, but wow. You know, well, Lee, actually, to be fair though, you've just done something which is I'm gonna live well beyond my years. Just to let you know.
I hope so, Jose. I hope so.
Well, you've already done. It's happening. I've witnessed it. So no one's getting rid of me. And as Rocky said in Rocky 1, one of my Inspirational films, you ain't never getting rid of me.
That's what I want to hear.
You ain't never getting rid of me, and that's what I love. And this is and now I'm forever going to be on everywhere. Like, oh, I'm so happy, and until the universe implodes or wherever it is. What's the universe going to end up saying?
Wow, that was really optimistic, and it just went in wow. You took a sharp left turn there.
Well, just thinking, there is a end to the universe at some point, but it's in billions of years in the future. But maybe there's some sort of alternate universe that I can transfer the consciousness to, and it happens there, right? So it'll never end. Never
ending story.
Love it.
Oh, I love that film, by the way.
So back to the message as it stands, and I leave people inspiration. I sincerely believe in the fact that if you believe you can, you are halfway there. And I come from being someone who spent a lot of years in the no, I can't camp, and this won't work for me, and things never work for me. I'm just not one of those sort of people to yes, I can, and the difference is marked. So I don't just say that, I live and breathe that mentality. That's why that quote stuck out for me. So I want to leave people with that inspiring message. Right, let's do some takeaways. Jose Archibald Noya.
So, Archibald, is that because he's a Tottenham player or something? I don't know.
Just because it was a funny name that jumped into my head.
Anyway, I like the iron sharpens iron thing because it's about the people that push you on, right? And actually, Lee and Ryan, you inspired me to continue to go. Without you, I'm not sure whether I would have continued. I don't know. I don't think I would have done, you know. But having you there, both of you, yeah. And again, Lee, in the early days, you know, inspired me because you were trying things and doing things. You inspired me to try things. I think actually those first projects, and then obviously we've got the podcast and mine. This has continued, right? I think, you know, being with people that do that just inspires you to try things and get that confidence and that belief to do it, and that it can work. And so that's my takeaways. Iron sharpens iron, and there was another bit in there, wasn't it? Was it iron? There was something, friends or something. You said there was friends or something.
Yeah, but you've had your time now, so we're done. Ryan
Sharp.
Ryan Maximilian Boniface, what is your takeaway?
Maximilian. All I keep thinking of is a black hole character, Maximilian. Anyway, carry on.
My takeaway is that it doesn't matter when you start.
Ooh, you're very profound.
I love that.
I
There's a great.
because you take up all the air.
Well done.
Well, sometimes remember, pressure creates great outcomes, right?
It's like that. There's that list of people when they started things, and wasn't Mr. KFC like 60 or something when he started
he was in his
KFC?
60s.
So I
Yeah,
think that's
so-
a great message.
There's that other word. There's that other saying, isn't it? And maybe that'd be for another.
I'm going to
podcast,
mute
but-
you in a minute.
Hang on, just quickly. Diamonds are created under pressure, right? Love that quote.
I saw, actually, we'll do a diversion. I saw a great quote on Twitter this morning, actually, that said the 3 things needed to make diamonds, which are heat, pressure, and time, are also the things needed to make a waffle.
I like that.
And my takeaway is that everything can be great until suddenly the universe explodes and none of us are left anymore.
But then there'd be an alternate use to us, what we'll just transfer our consciousness to. It's all good.
We thank everyone for supporting us, listening, getting involved with the nonsense. We're all obviously a little bit giddy today. If you like what we're doing, if you want to support us, head over to inspirationnation.org.uk. Full back catalogue, nearly 5 years worth of YouTubes and audio on there. Inspiration Nation store, mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, all that good stuff. And our blog is there as well, our AI generated blog. So we'd love to know what you think about that as well. Give us some feedback and we can improve what we do with that. And of course, follow us on Twitter at listen to IN, listen TOIN. By Twitter, I of course mean X. And Jose is everywhere. Jose Noya, Inspiration Nation. Stick him in your Google machine. Like, subscribe, follow on TikTok and on YouTube. We're live each and every week. And if you subscribe, you'll get told when and you can get involved just as many people have done today. Do you want to do any final shout outs, Jose, before we wrap
Yeah,
up?
I just wanted to give a shout
Oh,
out.
I ran out of breath there.
Just wanted to give a shout out. Just say we've got 688 likes on the live, which is great. And again, Anecdotes is good. And I just want to say that LSG had just joined. I'm not sure if they're here now, but that's great. And what was the other thing? I was going to say something else. Anyway, it's gone now. Oh, the AI generated blog. By the way, it's fantastic. By the way,
You're a fan of that, yeah?
Oh my god, I actually shared it with Meg because we had Meg last week. On
Yes,
the
we
podcast
did.
meeting.
Appreciate her joining.
that's
Did she
great.
like the write-up, yeah?
Yeah, really great. Yeah, loved it. So, it's just so good. It's honestly, I read the blog. I'm inspired by the blog. Like, I'm inspired by it. Like, just reading it, it's just so good. So, this is the future.
100%. And speaking of the future, we'll be back again next week. All that's left for me to do is count us down. 3, 2, 1. Inspiration Nation.
Inspiration Nation.
Catch you guys later.
Catch you guys later.
Catch you guys later.